So, yeah, do it.
No,
Try it.
I will regardless, but I'm
Yeah,
asking you as women leaders.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. And I must say that, I work in UNICEF in United Nations Children's Fund. And we had such heavy competition about going to the senior leadership programs when they started. Really heavy competitions. It took me 8 years to get on the program. It says a little bit about, the engagement, the opportunities. And then I think for the others where I had one after one after one. I was working in New York for a while, and then I had these women coming to my office and say, "Kari, can you mentor me? You know, can you mentor? Yeah, can you be my mentor?" And I said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "I want to become a leader, but I need somebody who's supporting me to get there." So what I think you're saying is, yes, uplifting, but I think it most important is to work together with those who are already engaged, because they are already ready to take the next step, and then start nurturing the ground for those who would like to also become the next generation leaders, because sometimes they're not aware of that. So the uplifting, yes, I call it empowerment. The uplifting you want to do, yeah, it's sometimes about realizing that you have the potential. And I must say, the ones who saw the potential in me were men. And because I was a handball player, and I was playing handball. I was also playing. I was a referee in handball. So the leadership starts at home. It starts when you get the opportunity to perform in a rather untraditional uh, way. Because I was a referee for male teams, and you can imagine seeing a young girl at that time then playing around with these 30, 40-year-old boys. Of course, at that time, I didn't see that as a leadership issue, but in retrospect, it started back there. And I see sometimes it's the outsiders who see the potentials
and so
in
do I.
you.
That's why I'm asking.
Exactly, and I think it's a wonderful idea. And
Can I also mention, ladies, please don't go for Tony Robson. It's not what's about to be. You end up leaving and doing that's what you're doing to go anyway. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
What
You
makes you say that?
uh, let me define. Let me define that. Let me define that. Let me define what I'm saying. If you know what you don't want, the rest is easy. If you know what you don't want. Leadership has got nothing to do with position. Nothing. Nothing. So it's neither male, female, young, old. And so when you define what leadership is not, it's easy to understand what leadership is. And so that's why I spent 45 years of my life where I became suicidal at 45 years old, 20 kilos heavier, almost lost everything I ever worked for because I thought that that's where I needed to be in order to do what I wanted to do. And I go, I didn't waste it because you have a defining moment and you know what you don't want. And the last 7 years of my life, I work within cultures, and I'm an irritant. I'm an annoying human being to create independence in people. I'm free. They can't take my job. They can't take my position because they don't own me. They can't threaten me. Legislation can't do anything to me. My conscience is clean. And so you find you have incredible impact like my mother did to me, like my wife has towards me, and like my daughters have toward me. And yet I'm supposed to be the leader of the house, and yet they're the ones that I look at them like mirrors. And I'm going, what do I see in them? So I'm just encouraging you, don't chase something that will end up disappointing you. It's just that. I mean,
well,
just a thought.
the flip side of that is to chase it, and when you get there, and on the way there, you make the changes. And so you create a different reality, a different type of organization, a different type of movement.
Sure.
Because leadership and position go together. And position, as anyone who has ever lost the position will know, position carries with it, by virtue of position, certain responsibilities, certain benefits, and certain authority to actually make things happen, change policy, your voice gets heard,
people automatically listen to you. So you have a lot of power.
And I believe it's a fault. But anyway,
well,
that's another debate. But I tell
and
you,
I think
far more influence in changing people's lives, which is leadership, than policy. Because policy does not change anything.
Okay, so
I'm serious. I mean, legislation causes bullying to go deeper underground. Yeah. That's from the front line. Everything I do is never from a desk or from a classroom.
I have to react. I'm sorry. So I represent Business and Professional Women International, and we're in consultative status with the United Nations agencies. And so I'm partner with Carrie and with, I don't know your name, but Margaret, pleased to meet you. And I just missed the beginning of your presentation. I'm sorry. So we are for transformative leadership. We don't want leadership just for the sake of leadership. We want to work for a better world and sustainable world. So I have examples like, for example, against climate change. You know that it's the majority of women, like 70% in agriculture, who do all the job. We have also all the women who carry water all day long, and they're experts for climate change disaster, and so they are the experts, but they are not recognized. And so we want them to be managers and to be able to have a say, to have a voice. And it's the same also in companies. It's the same in Europe. It's only like 4% leadership, in corporate boards. And BPW International is launching a campaign for women on boards. Why? Because they will make maybe the complement. Even the microphone is against me. So,
Hello.
I think we are complementary. And so we have also to make the decisions. And also, that the top level of the finances, it's only men. Only men. So, and if you think also of peace and peace resolutions of conflicts, peace and conflicts and resolution of conflicts, we need leaders as women in the decisions. And there's a resolution, from the United Nations saying that we have to be women in the, yes.
Pardon? Yeah, but the world backed her because she came into the media. And she was standing there. It's as if you march against me, she was standing there against the Nazis, like this. And she did it spontaneously. But because yeah, yeah, but that,
Huge impact.
yeah, but there are certain techniques you need.
And I teach people how to fight like that. That's what I'm saying.
No, but you can have your meanings. But at the same time, I think you also have to realize that there are certain knowledge, there are certain skills, there are certain techniques that make you a better leader. And the leader, you can be a spontaneous leader, like this lady was, which is a good illustration. And it went worldwide viral, like all that. But at the same time, what, like Marie-Claude said, why are women not at the peace negotiation tables? Yes, but don't interrupt me. Don't interrupt me. You're male planning me. And what happened? I worked in South Sudan. And South Sudan went to Ethiopia to negotiate peace between two fighting parties. And the women were not invited. So they hired a plane. 41 of them flew to Addis and went into the negotiation hall of this integrated, I don't remember, IGAD. And then they were not allowed to the table. So they were advised to sit in the corridor. But they, to me, they showed leadership. They took this initiative and they said, we do not accept to be left out. And I think that's the point of what we are talking about now, is that we should have the room for everybody. Whether you call it leadership, whether you call it engagement, whether you call it activism, whatever. It's the balance between the male and the female, and the opportunities have so far been with the men. Just face it. It's been with the men for hundreds of years. What we are saying now, in order to qualify, because we want to have good leaders, we don't want to have some mediocre, non-committed guys who just sign up and want to be elected to get all the money and screw the funding out of poor countries, which they do. We want to impart knowledge, skills, and opportunities for those women. That's the point of the issue. And then you can talk about Robin Sharma with a leader without the monk who sold his Ferrari, or the leader without title, all of this. But for women who haven't had the chance, let's give them a chance to develop leadership. Give them the opportunity to know what it is. And that, I think, is what we are talking about. Establish that vision, establish that mission, in order to also gradually change the paradigm.
When you learn leadership, that gives you tools. That's just tools. If you have a carpenter without tools, what can he do? And if you have a woman who's a leader inside but doesn't have the tools, what will she do? Sit at home and brood? So we need tools, and they are trying to get it to us.
We also need, there's also a justification for position. And it just occurred to me, we speak about women in managerial levels and so on. And the voice of the woman with the position is a very powerful voice. And I'll give you a recent example. Sheryl Sandberg, who is the COO of Facebook, lost her husband a year ago. He died suddenly. And she comes to this Mother's Day and she realizes, she writes this article that's gone out to millions now about how difficult